Alright, this is my video response to the TED Talk for this week. For lack of a better, more private place to record, I'm recording this on my truck, so excuse the poor lighting and maybe background noise. But I'm kind of going to start out with some notes that I just took during the video rather than jump straight into the questions and the prompt. I wanted to take note of what he said about choosing physicians not just based off of like their scores to get into school or stuff like that, or just their grades, and more focusing on things like emotional intelligence. I heard that term thrown around one time, and I think that's just a very effective and very healthy thing to do, which sounds funny because it's just talking about healthcare and whatnot. But I just think when you base somebody's performance or somebody's profession and how good they are at it simply based off of numbers or scores and stuff like that, definitely when you're dealing with doctors and people who deal with health, you kind of disregard stuff like mental health or emotional health and things like that, which are so important and so part of like the whole health of a person as a whole. So I think that was just a thing that I've always connected on. And also, I am currently a junior in college, and I never took the ACT or SAT in high school. Part because kind of like chance, but part just because I kind of wanted to prove a point that I could get into college and do well in college without taking those kinds of tests, and just because I don't know, it's kind of my own personal way of showing that they don't prove too much. So anyway, I really kind of connected, and I really liked his emphasis that he put on that. Analyzing to help build intellect questions. Digitalizing processes make them. So just a thing that I kind of noticed. I've actually heard when he was talking about the app that you could connect to doctors just via an app. I thought that was funny because on NPR, one of the sponsors of NPR is a service that does just that. So I thought that was funny that in 2018, that kind of links back to the question, like the actual discussion question, is that like I guess we are getting closer to that because that is kind of an app that is widely enough used to where it was on something like NPR or WHQR in Raleigh. But I wanted to just comment on, I think just like anything else, digitalizing processes or putting processes like going to the doctor solely on the internet or on the internet in general makes it more prone to failure and makes it more prone to, I hate to be the conspiracy guy, but stuff like sabotage or stuff like that. So I think while I think it's very convenient and can be very useful for a lot of people, and definitely people, sick people, to use such a process or such a program that would allow you to talk to a doctor or reach a doctor from your home via a device, I think it also needs to be very, very secure, and definitely medical records and just things like that need to stay very private, and they need to stay very secure, just so they wouldn't be prone to God knows what. And also, just one more thing, that just as far as my notes that I wrote down, accountable care. He used the term accountable care, and I really like that. Definitely in hospitals. My dad's somebody who's had a lot of in and outs of the hospitals, mainly because of joint replacements, but still, after his first knee replacement, he had a lot of trouble with rehab after he was completely done and just rehabbing his knee himself. And it kind of felt like he was, after you're gone, you're out of their hands. And I don't really like that. And I liked his emphasis that he put on of kind of being accountable for your patients. And it's almost like running hospitals like a business, in the way of you kind of have to have a good customer experience. You can't just give them an okay service and send them out the door. Like, there has to be some sort of repercussion to bad service, and there should be some sort of motive to have good service, I guess. So in a way, it's kind of like running hospitals or healthcare as a business, but not in like a privatized manner, and much more in like the, I guess, like customer service aspect of it. Now back to the prompt questions. Is this closer? Are we closer to this prediction or farther away? I think if anything, we're farther away. I don't think we've moved. I don't think it's really a linear thing. I think there's a lot of different branches that we could kind of travel down, and I think it's hard to measure it based off that question. But I think In some ways we're farther away, but in a lot of ways we just haven't moved. I think it's been 4 years, but there hasn't been that much difference. Like I noted earlier, there is the small things like apps on your phone or ways you can get in contact with doctors digitally. But other than that, and a lot of the things as far as accountability or things as far as like it's kind of cheesy the way he did it, but reviewing hospitals and stacking them up against other ones. I'm not familiar with anything like that, and I think something like that would be helpful. And I think if something like that did come about, I think it should be widely covered and accessible to people, to everyday people, not just doctors, so we can kind of pick our hospitals like we want. Once again, it kind of compares it to like running it like a business, but I don't really like that paradigm too much. And then how do I think the current administration has played a role in this? I don't think it's done too much so far. I know we're only about a year and a half to our current administration, but I really don't think it's played too much into it. I think, if anything, healthcare is just as privatized as it was under Obama or presidents before that and stuff like that. So I don't think the administration has had too much to do with healthcare or with the progression or digression of healthcare in America so far. This is not to say that it couldn't affect it in the future, and maybe I'm ignorant to things, and I'm widely open to anybody who wants to respond and kind of like clue me into anything I might be missing. But right now, I just don't feel like the current administration hasn't affected the progression or digression of the American healthcare system that much. So, like I said, I mean, any responses to anything I've said, I may be sounding ignorant. I promise I watched the entire video and I kind of took what I could from it. I thought it was kind of cheesy, not in a bad way, but I thought it was. I didn't know what to take from it. Like I said, I mean, I've discussed all the things that I did take from it, the things I liked, and maybe the things I had questions about. But I would really, I'm looking forward to reviewing and looking over more of the video responses, just to see what other people got from it, because I thought it was kind of like more the same. It was a commentary on what may be a broken system, but I didn't see it as too much. There wasn't too many realistic goals in it, and I kind of wish there was more. This light just cut off, and now I have very dramatic lighting. I wish there was more realistic goals in the video, I guess. But all in all, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good message. I thought he was a funny guy, and I honestly love watching these videos and speaking about them, discussing them with our peers. So yeah, that's my video response. Sorry again for the lighting. This is just the most private place I could get to record this kind of thing. It's kind of awkward to do it around people. Hey, but thanks for watching. This has really been a blast.